So, do you ever find you practice mindfulness? How does mindfulness integrate with martial arts?
That's interesting. So I personally define mindfulness a specific way, and I think that it's the term is used a lot by different teachers in different ways, and so I'm I'm cautious to talk about it generically. So I'm going to say when I talk about mindfulness, I mean it a certain way, and in that is that to me, mindfulness is the ability to keep your mind on one topic, and whatever that topic is, for the duration of the time that you're choosing to do that. So if I were meditating, I would see mindfulness as, can I sit here and just consider my breath and pay attention to my breath for 10 minutes without any other birds flying into my brain, you know? And so martial arts, I think, is a great way to practice that because it gives your mind something to do while you're doing it, whether it's, you know, doing a form or punching a punching bag, or whether it's, sparring or something, because as soon as your mind goes somewhere else, then that distraction, you pay for it, and you make a mistake in the form, or somebody chokes you or something, and so I think in that regard, it's really good at martial arts then is really good at helping you stay focused on one thing. I like it like that. It's definitely, I do feel like it's a training wheels approach to mindfulness though, because it's the keeping you focused on doing something is so gross. Like I'm doing big movements and in all that it's really easy to stay focused on. And doing mindfulness where you're just sitting and thinking about your breathing, that's much easier to get distracted on. So I think that I consider martial arts as like beginning mindfulness. And I think a lot of people probably disagree with me on that, but that's my opinion about it. Like a lot of things, the more you do it, the easier it gets. And as your body starts to remember how to do things, you can start to think about other things and it can become distracting. And I think it's way harder to sit and just think about your breathing and not let other things float in your mind than it is to be waving your arms around, because there's so much more to put your mind on. At least that's my experience with it. I think there are probably people who have different experiences, but
You also practice Chinese medicine, correct?
yeah. So I have a Chinese medicine clinic in Boulder, Colorado, and I've had this clinic for about 25 years. Interestingly, Chinese medicine for me was not necessarily my first choice of professions. I love it. Um, I'm glad I do it, but I kind of fell into it as a way of trying to explore my other loves of Asian culture, including like Daoism and Buddhism and martial arts and whatnot. My relationship with it really changed within a couple of years of starting to study it, where I fell deeply in love with it, and I really saw it as a vehicle of helping people. And so one of my teachers, my early martial arts teachers, the one who really kind of pushed me in this direction, he used to say, he's like, you can spend a lot of time learning to hurt people in martial arts. You need to learn to help people too. And he would talk about his experience learning, and they would do their martial arts training and would do medical training after that, where they would learn massage or bone setting or herbs or whatnot from their teacher. And he's like, you have to balance yourself out. You can't just be one way or the other. And he's like, this will behoove you to study this. And I was like, okay, this sounds great. Let's explore it more. I liked the idea of being a doctor. I wasn't really necessarily in love with a particular type of medicine, but I'd had a lot of Chinese medicine growing up, and I was really comfortable with it. And right before I went to school, I'd been applying to, Western medicine school and osteopathic school and chiro school and Chinese medicine school. And I didn't know what I wanted to study. I just knew I would do one. And then I had a really bad knee injury training, and I went to a surgeon, and the surgeon was not the like the most friendly person in the world. And being an impetuous 20 something, I was like, you're not going to touch me. I'll just do this naturally. I knew I wouldn't die from a knee injury. So I just did, a bunch of Chinese herbs and exercises and acupuncture. And I never had to have surgery, and my knee healed great. And I really kind of fell in love with this idea of, wow, I can do this. I can help people without having to have surgery, and it seemed really magical. And it was really in alignment with um, all my years of studying traditional sort of Chinese natural sciences and martial arts and stuff, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I mean, I'm definitely glad I went that way, and otherwise I wouldn't still be doing it. Our perspective on the human body and diseases is that everything has a definable cause, and because of that, the cause always needs to be addressed, not just the symptom. So that's a place where Western medicine, I think, a lot of times just doesn't care. They do look for causes for a lot of things, but a lot of things they also just don't care. So, like, for example, I've never met a person who had a headache from an aspirin deficiency. So the aspirin will treat the symptom of the headache, and there's nothing wrong with treating the symptom. And maybe in a one-off scenario, you don't really need to know why you have a headache. But as a Chinese medicine practitioner, we're always concerned about the why. And the why always has to be addressed. So for the headache, we would not just treat the symptom, because killing the pain has to happen. We also try and figure out, well, why did you get this headache? What's the underlying cause? Was this something to do with your digestive system or hormones or the weather or a muscle strain or stress and then we want to address that too. Because from our point of view, one cause, one imbalance can lead to a lot of problems. So that imbalance that's maybe causing the headache now might cause something else later, and then might cause something else later. And so that's like a bicycle wheel where the cause is the hub in the wheel and the spokes are the symptoms. And maybe this spoke is screaming at you more now, but this one over here is going to scream at you tomorrow, and this one the next day, and this one the next day. And if we're just chasing the symptoms, you take aspirin for this, and then you take another drug for that, and you never really are getting to the root of the problem, which is the middle, the hub. And so that's a big thing for us. And then what we do is then we just choose the right tools for that. So sometimes it's dietary therapy, sometimes it's herbal medicine, sometimes it's massage or Chinese chiropractic, or sometimes it's acupuncture or cupping or gua sha. There's any number of tools, but whatever it's going to take to lead that hub back into balance. We can also have one symptom can have a whole bunch of different causes. I can think of 10 different reasons people get headaches, and the headache itself may feel the same to somebody, but the reason somebody has it and the reason somebody else have it can be so polarly different that if this person takes the herbs, it might help them, and this person takes those same herbs, it might make it worse. And so we're always really cautious about that, because we look at herbalism as so individual that every single person, you and your whole family, say, caught a cold from each other, probably all of your formulas would be a little bit different, because you look at all your different ages and genders and body constitutions and all those things. So we try and take that into consideration when we prescribe herbs. And that is why sometimes an herb that seems so ridiculously simple can make you feel better. Like, for example, if somebody's just at the very beginning of catching a cold, and they have that, like, feel just a little bit, tiny bit feverish and chilled, and they're just a little clammy, and they're like, I think I'm catching a cold, and you give them like porridge or oatmeal or something with a whole bunch of cinnamon on it, and then you bundle them up and they start sweating, that will usually like kick the cold out. That something so simple as cinnamon can do that, but it has to be the right picture. So if somebody already has like a big giant fever, it won't help. If you catch it just right in the right way, something so simple can make a huge difference. Simple things like cinnamon or mint or ginger can be really profound.
Hey guys, I would like to take a moment to introduce you to our app, Yoga Plus. You will have access to an incredible selection of videos led by top instructors in yoga, fitness, nutrition, and so much more. Download our Yoga Plus app available on iOS and Android today.